Hello and welcome to Abyssalcraft. So one of the things that you have to do in this mod is do that, which is you right click that cobblestone thing. It's basically you just do a 2 gap and then you just take like a knight in chess, and then you get those. And this is basically how you create access to the first dimension. Now let me just go back a bit. I just wanted to actually do something just to begin, just to show, and this is very, very important, this structure, as you might imagine. Abyssalcraft is based on sort of the Lovecraftian Cthulhu mythos, right? And I was looking at it, and if you look at even the name Abyssalcraft, there's actually like an abyssal plain. Like if you look underwater, between 4,000 and 6,000 meters, is kind of the bottom, is like an abyssal plain, and they have I'm trying to remember the order in the water column. I think it's like the bottom of the pelagic layer, above the hadal layer, and then at the bottom of all layers is the benthic layer. But anyway, the point is, at this layer where you find the abyssal plains, normally about 4,000 to 6,000 meters, that's where you find the giant squid. That's where you find yeah, that's where you'll find all like the sort of like Cthulhu type stuff, right? So yeah, so it was really, so I mean, that's the important thing to mention. Even though it's like a magic and mythology mod, it's actually quite cool how it's actually based on a lot of this like ocean stuff, right? So you can put a squid in there, and you can also there's certain things that you'll find in the world, such as liquid antimatter. So let's try to see what happens if we get a squid and we apply some liquid antimatter to that squid. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it there, and you can see when it actually, okay, it kills you pretty fast. I'll be back in 1 second. As you can see, this is where I died just a moment ago. You notice that the antimatter actually turned everything into packed ice. So this is the anti-player holding the nature's compass that I'll be using in a moment. That's a different mod. And you get all your stuff back from there. Okay, so one of the things you may find is a Darkness Mountain biome. Here we're going to find some ghouls. Got Pete here as well. And Dr. Orange. Some abyssal zombies. Getting some drops. Radium plate flesh. Which is cool. Okay, so we've got some Corradian plague flesh on a bone. We can see we can use it to make potions of Corradian plague, and also on my sword I've actually got Corradium, which is gives mobs Corradian plague, and Light Pierce, which is going to be very useful against shadow creatures. Now the rate of spawn naturally in Abyssalcraft is actually very low for this stuff, so you really need to spend like a long time finding this stuff. Obviously I put looting on the sword as well, but even so, it's actually very difficult to find the mobs you want, and the reason for that is often because yeah, it's just because there's a lot of spawns, aren't there? And not all of them are going to be these guys, the depth schools. Funnily enough, those depth schools I just showed you. So here we are. This is what we're looking for. Unfortunately, we're under attack by a witch at the moment. Did I kill it? No, it's still alive, unfortunately. Funnily enough, it's actually fighting the witch now. I didn't quite get that one. Okay. Got him. There's the fragment. Okay. So that's pretty good. Okay, I actually did pretty well there. So you can see I got 3 shadow fragments and 4 shadow gem shards. Now these guys are the lesser Shoggoths, and you'll find these in monoliths, basically. And what you can do, what you can see here, as they walk around, what they actually do. I'm actually going on top of the witch's hut now. You can see that they're actually turning the land into Shoggoth ooze, which is pretty interesting. You can see they turned the entire roof of this witch hut into Shoggoth ooze. Now let's just. I'm going to fast forward a few minutes. But yeah, like I say, there's also this food as well, MRE, which is made like so, which is very good food. And yeah, I'll just come back in a moment once there's been more development of this ooze. Okay, so I waited a few minutes. I sort of moved around on a sort of a, just doing a platform just so they would follow. And we've got these various different statues here. Got another one over there as well. And this is what you use them for, basically. So if we look at the statues, we can see there's several of them you can get, right? And this is how we're going to actually get access to what is known as the gateway core. So if you look at what I actually so yeah, the gateway key, rather. So the gateway key is what you need to activate. So the Corallium. Let's just talk a little bit about that as well. If I just, for instance, if I just check a Corallium infested swamp, this is obviously another biome you can get to. We'll just TP there. What did it say? 1398,578. Okay, this is the Corallium swamp, and here, like I was mentioned at the beginning of the video, actually, you can find sort of like anti-cows, but you don't want the anti-cow to meet another anti-cow, because then there'll be a huge explosion. There's an anti-chicken, and this is where you'll also find the antimatter. Okay, so what I've done now is I just created this energy pedestal. We can take a look at it here. Just like that, with just shadow gems and this Corallium pearl, which comes from Corallium, which is you find Corallium here in the swamp and also in the in oceans as well. And I just put a monolith stone pillar. That's just made out of the monolith stone that you find, where the Shoggoths are spawning, the lesser Shoggoths. And I just put a statue on top of each one in exactly the same pattern as I did before. And then we're filling up the Necromonicon with potential energy. So currently I've got 560. Okay, now this time I've created the ritual pedestal with some different stuff. So we're going to do the ritual here. This thing's also another thing you can make, the engraver, so you can engrave some coins like that. So yeah. So obviously at this stage you want to make, there's various things you can actually do at this stage. If you actually take a look at the Necromonicon, you'll see that there's various different rituals that I think trying to remember which section it is now. Yeah, normal I think it is. So this is obviously the ritual that we need to make at the moment, right, to make the transmutation gem for the gateway core. But there's lots of different stuff that you can do. Special materials maybe. So yeah, this is what we just did. There's the pillar, and we can make some ritual charms to amplify the power of the potential energy manipulators. So yeah, and the sacrificial altar can. Yeah, so that's what actually I was doing over here, wasn't it? Interesting. So I could make a sacrificial altar as well, couldn't I? I don't think I've got one of these guys. Similar sort of recipe. Put that over here. If I put this here, so I currently got what? 900. If I get a pig, Let's have a look. 925. So it's definitely, I mean, it's definitely, let me put it this way. Yeah, I think actually, yeah, this is not, it's, the sacrificial altar does not get powered from the monolith pillars only power the energy pedestal. And obviously if there's nothing in there to power, we won't get anything. So yeah, there is that. So let's just try that one more time. So it should be on, what, 930, right? Oh, 980? No, it's still going up. It's still going up. That's because I'm getting directly being powered when I'm holding it. Okay, so I'm going to put the recipe in here. And what was it? The core. The gateway core. Gateway key, rather. The Oblivion Catalyst. So... yeah, it's just a Corradian Pearl. And the Corradian Pearl is just made with infused stone, which you can get it from the clusters. And the clusters can be, what is it, 1 to 9, yeah. And there's all different configurations of making them. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but either way, we need a Corradian Pearl. And I think we'll right click with shift right click. Okay. So that gets the transmutation gem. And then with the transmutation gem we can make this obviously just comes from the shards, which obviously I got a bit earlier in the video. That makes the shards of Oblivion. And then, yeah, it's simply just another case of using the shards of Oblivion with some redstone and ender pearl, and it's 5,000 potential energy. When I've only got about 935. But yeah, and then that will be able to make the gateway key with the Oblivion Catalyst. But yeah, the thing is, I'm not exactly sure. Like, I'm noticing some interesting stuff. Like when I'm just holding it now, like you get various effects and stuff like that. If I put it down here, I think it's still doing something. So yeah, I need to kind of understand the energy system a little bit better, and hopefully I will by the next part of this series. Also, you can see there's this pig that was he actually walked nearby, and he's still got the effect somehow. So it does seem to affect. I need to understand like the conversion of life energy into this potential energy, and yeah, because that's the ritual altar, that's the sacrificial altar, and that's the energy pedestal. So yeah, I'm going to try to just like really understand the differences between each of them, and the best way to. There's also a relay as well, an energy relay. So I believe this one doesn't actually send power unless it's using the relay. But yeah, I'll provide a more thorough explanation at the beginning of the next episode. Until then, thanks for watching.